This next video is Independent Challenge 4. It's Module 5, Excel page 127. So you'll find it partial way down the page on 127. I went ahead and opened the project file. So you need EX5-6 as indicated in the instructions. Make sure you do a save as. And it asks us to name it activity. So we got it open, and the first thing we're going to use SUMIF in G5 to G8 to calculate the total minutes spent on each corresponding activity F5 to F8. And again, the number one problem everybody has on using these if functions is doing the criteria range and the range of what you're calculating backwards. So if you end up with the wrong numbers, that's usually your first checkpoint. So we need to find the total minutes they walked. So we're going to go to SUMIF, so go to your formulas options. And for this one, we're going to find SUMIF in Math and Trig. So scroll down, they should be in alphabetical order. So the SUMIF, so the first thing again is the range of the criteria. So we need to find out what they're doing. So here's where I'm going to look it up. The criteria is going to be in F5 because we're looking for the word walk in this list. And then after we find out how many are walking, I need to add those up, which is the minutes. So I have my range of B4 to B15, criteria F5, sum range is C4 to C15. So when I select OK, there, I'm ready to go. So I've calculated the minutes. Let's see. So this wants us G5 to G8, so we'll go ahead and just drag that down. Don't drag down to walk outdoors because we're going to use a different function to get that, because it's actually looking in two different cells before it calculates it. Moving on down, we're going to use average if to find the average minutes, so the same technique. And with these formulas, it bounces around a bit. You're not finding them in one spot. So this is going to be in statistical, and we're going to go to average if. And we're going to do the same thing. So again, our range is here. The criteria is going to be here. So range B4 to B15. Our criteria is going to be walking F5, and then we're going to find the average minutes they walk. So that's C4 to C15. You can hit the checkbox, enter, or OK. So the average amount of time walked is 43, and then I can drag this down. So go ahead and calculate those numbers. And we could even, we'll come back and do the formatting later. And then finally, it wants us to use count if in I5 to I8 to find out how many times they did the workout. And my machine just froze. I'm buying a new computer. We'll find the number of workouts. We're going to do a count if. So again, count if right here. Range, same thing, B4 to B15. The criteria is that they walked. And in this one, when we fill down, the most common mistake is forgetting absolute. So when I fill down, it's going to start counting down here in our empty cells. So I'm actually going to come up to my range and assign absolute to this range. So I'm going to click in B4, just anywhere in that, and hit F4 like we've been practicing. And then in B15, hit F4 again. And so that way it's all set as absolute. So when I drag this down, it's going to calculate it correctly. So the number of workouts that were they did of each of these activities. The next one is walk outdoors. So the trick in this one, essentially you're writing the same formula, but it's doing multiple levels. So there's 2 words. So we're finding out when they walked and outdoors. So it has to look in both of these. So it's the same formula, but we add an S. So in other words, more than one thing is causing it. So I want to find some ifs for walk outdoors. We'll find that some ifs in math and trig. And the sum range where we're going to add is going to be these minutes. The criteria range is going to be here in B4 to B15 because that's the first criteria. When we're putting in this criteria, we talked about this a little bit where we're using text as part of our function, so we need to go ahead and put it in quotes. So I need to grab the word walk out of this range, so I'm going to put it in quote marks. Then the criteria range 2 is going to be the location of the activity, so I'm going to highlight D4 to D15. And then in criteria 2, I'm going to put in quotes outdoors. And then you can see right here it's already given you the answer, so we know we're in good shape. And so I'm going to hit OK, and total minutes was 92. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do average ifs, and count ifs. So I'm going to come up and do statistical for average ifs. The average range is the average minutes. Oops, let me grab those again. That's C4 to C15. The criteria range is here with the activity, and we're going to use the same technique. I put in walk. Criteria range 2 is location. Criteria 2 is going to be outdoors in quotes. And I'm going to select OK, and you should get 46. And finally, we're going to do count ifs for the number of workouts. And let's see, statistical. I'm in count ifs, and we're just repeating the same thing. There's my criteria range. The criteria is going to be walk. Now we don't have something we're adding here, so we're only counting, so we don't have that extra cell in there. Criteria range 2 is going to be location, and I'm going to make sure it's in quotes again. Then hit OK, and we're all set. You should, at this point, be pretty close to matching the sample. I would just clean it up a little. I'd go ahead and center these so they look a little better, and then especially this minutes one, maybe we go to 1 decimal spot. Something like that. And so that is independent challenge 4, Excel page E127. Don't forget to save, and it's all set.